Shalom, shalom, and welcome to Ask the Gardener by Gardening Adventures. This is our gardening tips for the month of July. Grab something to write on to capture these quick tips that's going to help you have even a greater successful gardening in the month of July. Well, depending on what region you live in, it could be very warm already, or it could still be cool. But when we look at the month of July, it becomes the equalizer. And so these temperatures that we're looking at across the country right now, the heat index of 100 to 120, gardeners are being challenged by the heat wave in the Pacific West, the West Coast, as well as some of the regions in the South. So hopefully some of the things that I'll cover during this tips or sessions of how to protect your plants as well as your vegetables and flowers from intense heat. We're going to cover quite a few tips, but when you think about it, no matter where you live, July's strong sun and high temperatures make gardening a bit of a challenge for both the garden and the gardener alike. But no worries. We got a July gardening checklist for you to use to help keep you cool and keep you on track. And so 2 points that I want to share with you today is, number one, plan and preparation. 2 points, plan and preparation. And so remember, the garden journal that we talked about, is now time to use it. We are at the midway point for this year. And so hopefully you have recorded what you planted and where you planted and how things are going, and unusual pests and disease and weather issues that you have experienced or that you have noticed. A second thing in your planning is take pictures to keep the details fresh in your mind. And then jot down some notes for your upcoming fall garden. And so what I try to do is on a weekly basis is to do a photo shoot of my garden because I have a variety. I have vegetables that are in containers, but also have vegetables that are growing in ground. Then we have outdoor plants. The majority of them are what we would call partial shade or full shade plants. Then we have our flower beds. We have full shade, partial shade, full sun. So those 4 or 5 categories in those 3 or 4 areas of vegetables, plants, and flowers becomes quite a bit to keep your memory bank flowing to what they need, all the way down to your fertilizing schedule, to your watering schedule. It's going to help you if you plan and you write your notes down in your journal. That's the first tip for the month of July. And then the second one is prepare or maintenance. Continue to really stay on top of weeds so they don't take over your vegetable garden or your flower garden. Recently, last year as well as this year, we created the no dig, no flower gardening. And it's been very successful that trim and cut down my de-weeding time. It's very simple. I'll give you a couple of tips. All you need is those cardboard boxes or newspaper, And what I have discovered is that I go to Sam's Club and get those flat cardboard sheets that they have between the paper towel and the toilet tissue. And that's what I use as my no weed, no dig gardening system. Very simple. I did do a post in my gardening adventures page, and you can look at the pictures and the notes of how to do that to eliminate weeds or to do some type of weed control over your garden, vegetable garden, and your flower garden. So you want to avoid that. And then the next thing, far as preparing, is water deeply. Water deeply, but less frequently to avoid stressing your plants. Many times, especially like tomatoes, you'll have block rotting where it's been infrequently watering, where you may have high intense heat and you're watering, or you may have 3 or 4 or 5 days of downpour of rain, and the vegetables or the tomatoes develop what we call blossom rot, where you see this brown spot on the base of your tomato. So what I'm encouraging you to do is to develop a consistent watering schedule depending on the temperatures that's out there. But if you water deep, you can water less frequently to avoid stressing your plants. And water early in the morning. That's giving your plant time to absorb it in the roots, as well as to dry out throughout the day, but it has water. And that gives them a better chance to withstand the afternoon heat. Here I'm in zone 8B, and for the last 3 weeks, our temperatures have been in the 90s. So what I've tried to do is water early and water deep. But we also had 1 week, almost 10 days of a heavy downpour on the plants, on the gardens in the zone. And so I had to be very careful and wise on the watering, as well as protecting the flowers and vegetables from the intense heat. So quick tip on that. I've used patio umbrellas, or you can use shade cloths, or you can take old sheets and cover your plants, cover your garden, and protect them from the intense heat. You can also use the patio umbrellas as a protection from those heavy downpours as well. I'm a firm believer in using what you have. What's in your house is usable, that's going to help you protect and preserve your plants. So I want to just drop those tidbits throughout the month of July. I'll come back on Ask the Gardener with sharing tips, strategies, and resources for you to have a successful gardening season, summer seasoning. My philosophy is an educated gardener is a successful gardener. Hope this has blessed, encouraged, inspired, and have given you some additional ways to be successful in your gardening endeavor. This is Dr. Hare, Ask the Gardener, sponsored by Gardening Adventures. Have a great day. Happy gardening.